Okay, we got everything going and we're in the room. We're ready to go. So I played the video. I had the video to play on time for once. Amazing. So if you did miss the video after this show, you can go and watch the video. But the video did play at exactly 7 o'clock, exactly on time. It was a video that showed, lots of different types of supposedly real aliens from, photographed from all over the world. And most of the time, the reason I made this video is because when most people think of aliens, they only think of grays and they only think of one type and they only think about the ones that they have seen on TV. And that is the reason why investigators, when we investigate, and that's the only thing you can talk about is that you've seen this thing that look exactly like on TV. That's how we know that you've probably been watching too much TV, because there's a lot of different types of alien groups. And aliens, they vary dramatically all over the world. And just like when you look at people, have you ever noticed people don't all look alike in this world? They vary dramatically, even in one place. And all over the world, people vary dramatically from one place to another. We look different, but we all look alike. This is the same thing with aliens. They all look different, but since they're coming from different places and different backgrounds and whatever, they're similar to us. Most of them are, humanoids in a type, but they're different from us. And most of them are here, as I told you. We live on the outside of the earth. Most of the, the Anunnaki or the old ones or the people that was here, they live here, but they're inside the earth. And they're coming here to visit them. And since, and what a lot of people do not know is that we live on, the reason the earth is important, the reason why there's so much activity here and so many alien groups here and the whole 9 yards, I'm going to explain that. Is the as above, as below. Just like what was going on in World War II. If you lived on one of those islands in the Pacific Ocean, you saw a lot of activity during World War II. Some of those people thought their island must be the center of everything, because you had, 100,000 Japanese soldiers on their little island. And then the American Sixth Fleet came with 100,000 American soldiers. And these people fought to the death for your little island. And you're like, damn, my island must really be important. It must be the center of everything. And today, nobody gives about your little island. It was only important because of the war that was going on and the strategical location of where your island was located. The Japanese needed your island. America needed your island because of the war. Nothing else. And after the war, nobody gives about your island anymore. Okay. This is why the earth is so important. We read in that book about this war in heaven. They even made it into a fictional movie called Star Wars. They took that war and they made it into a fictional thing. The only difference between that book and the fictional war in the book of what they call Star Wars is in the Bible. If you're Christian, you're rooting for the government forces. If you follow that movie, we're rooting for the rebels, because the rebels rule this world and they want us to be on their side because they're the home team. So we love it when we watch Star Wars that the government forces get beat up. We love it. But in reality, but that is why our planet is important, because we are near the front line. And our island is very important because of its location in space. So we get a lot of visitation. We get a lot of people from all over the place coming to this planet because the front line is right over there, and the earth is near the border. Okay. But again, they're not here to visit us. As I keep telling you, we're just the primitive people that live on the outside of the planet. They're here to talk to those people on the inside who is into trying to protect themselves and preparing for this eventual war, which we talk about. You can call it the War of Armageddon. You can call it whatever you want. In movies, they call it Independence Day. You can call it whatever you want. But however you call it, it's going to be a very bad day when that war comes. Right now, the war's been going on for so long. It have went from a hot war to a cold war. And there's not much shooting that goes on. But every now and then, as people have reported for hundreds of years, some of those little crafts shoot at each other. Because, you have two groups of them. You have the ones, I'm telling you things you're not supposed to know. You have the ones that are located on bases on the moon, which are of the government forces, the Watchers. And you have the ones that are located inside the earth, which are the rebel ones. And they both have their assigned tasks of what they're supposed to be doing. And sometimes, they get mad at each other and they take it out on each other. But normally with us, we just see them flying around. We only run across these beings because, as I told you, these beings are running different projects on this planet. And that is the reason why we run across them. Because, as I told you, what we call the small grays are not they're not extraterrestrial. They are alien. And let's get into the definition. Extraterrestrials are people that are not terrestrial. They are not of this earth. Most aliens are extraterrestrial. They're from somewhere else. The small grays, as they keep saying, they're from here. They are alien. They are not extraterrestrial. Okay. They are the workers. They are manufactured. They are produced. And they are produced by women donating eggs, men donating sperm, and that's how they produce the next generation. So that is how we run across these beings most of the time, if you're in one of their programs. And if you're in the breeding program, you're going to run across them a lot. Okay. Because you need to make your donations. Okay. But they have other programs that they're running too. There are actually 5 programs that they're actually running on this planet. Okay. Which involve us. The biggest one is the breeding project. They also have the environmental program that they run. Just like we go in the woods and we shoot a deer or bear and we throw it in the back of a pickup truck and we run blood tests, this and that and everything else. We put a little clip in his ear and let the bear go. And the bear is like, what the hell was that about? Okay. There are people that have the same problem. Okay. Because they monitor the living conditions of this planet. And you have to be able to, to see, how healthy we are or whatever. Because if we kill ourselves, we kill the small grays too. So we have to remain compatible at all times. So they monitor. So that's the environmental program that they're running. That's project number 2. They also have, other projects that they run, which are, less inclusive. They have, the projects that they actually, they actually work with some people, which is the project to make eventually they're the ones that is over, us going to the next level or not, because slowly we are progressing. Okay. And that project is doing okay, but they're having problems. So, as I mentioned before, we have finished our 100,000 years physical evolution. We're not getting no more fingers. We're not getting no more toes. We can run a mile in less than 4 minutes. We're done. If we survive, we're going to do the 100,000 years of mental evolution. We have this thing in our head, which is the world's greatest computer, but it doesn't work. We can't do 52 times 38 in our head. It doesn't work. Slowly, they're going to turn this thing on. And they are already working on that. First, they had the Indigo Project that didn't go well. Okay, we have something called a mechanical brain. We can mechanically figure out how to put things together. But the Indigo Project was to give people an electromechanical brain. Okay, and these Indigos, they could take their cell phone apart or their Game Boy apart and add features and whatever, because they can look at an electronic circuit and it makes sense to them. They can actually figure it out. But the Indigos did not do well. Most of them, especially the men, had a negative lean. And when Indigos first came out, people thought they was going to cure cancer and cure disease and cure this and cure that. They're not interested in doing anything besides breaking into ATMs and breaking into bank computers. And they're just in the mischief. They're in the bad stuff. Very bad. Okay. So when the government catches them, they either give them a choice. You can go to prison or you can work for the federal government. Okay. Because they're just into the crazy. But they never went to computer school. But they know how to write programs. They know how to break into any computer. They know how to do everything. Okay. They're super smart. But that was the Indigo Project. Then they had the Violet Project. The Violet Project was to make us more metaphysical, to make us more spiritually advanced. I was a little piece of that project, but in that project, the Violet Project, they had problems with that too. A lot of violets today are still around. It is a lot of our metaphysical leaders and our religious leaders today, and these people that, have all these, abilities and leading all these churches and everything, but they're not trying, they're taking all this ability of these old stains and all this stuff, and they can do all this stuff, and they got these mega churches of 20,000 people on a Sunday. But what are they doing? Are they trying to make the world a better place? Are they trying to stop world hunger? They're just trying to get more money and get more followers. They're just playing the Facebook game. They're not making the world a better place. And a lot of these people have ego problems, and they're not focused on the game plan. Okay. So a lot of the violets they have problems with, because we're supposed to be working with those people upstairs, and we're working on our own projects. Okay. And sometimes we can agree, and that's the problem. I have problems with them. Sometimes they are always talking to me, which I still didn't tell you where I get my information from. They talk to me. A lot of times I disagree with them. And a lot of times I say no. And when you say no, unfortunately, they don't get mad, they get even. And this get into the fighting, which is constant. Okay. And the Violet Project didn't go too well. So they have a new project now, which they're calling, we don't have a name. They're called the New Ones, or some people call them the Quiet Ones. They're very young, but these people they have all kind of abilities. They can see they can see auras. They can do all, they have all kind of sixth sense and special abilities. But they're very quiet. They don't go around talking to people about what they can or cannot do. So we really don't know that much about this new group. But since some of these people are now 15, 18 years old, they have all of these abilities. So far, they haven't used any of their abilities to make the world a better place. They're helping their friends and neighbors. They're helping their family members. They can see all kind of stuff. But again, they're not affecting beyond their immediate friends, immediate family. So this is a project which is going to take a very long time for them to figure out. Okay, but that is the third project they're working on. Okay, so because they need to get us, as I told you, they want us to, we read in the Bible that God is going to come and save us, and God is going to do this. They really want us to, remember, they gave us a paradise world. We're the ones who screwed it up and turned it into a ghetto. They really want us to straighten out our own mess. Okay. We have the ability. Just like we destroyed the oceans and polluted the oceans and cut down all the trees and pulled all the oil out of the ground, we have the ability to fix all of this if we want to. Or maybe we'll let our kids and grandkids fix it. We're too busy having fun right now and making too much money and doing this, and the stock market's going up. We'll just let our kids and grandkids fix the problems. Okay. This is the problem we're having now. So that is why they're giving us the ability to fix our problems. Because, people say, well, it's better if they fix it. It's better if the space aliens come and land and they going to fix all our diseases and cure everything. But remember, the analogy. There's always an analogy. The analogy is when you won't clean your room up. And mom keeps saying you need to clean up your room. And you won't do it. Mom is getting tired. And then one day she gets tired. And she gets a big garbage bag and she goes in your room. And you come home from school and your room is spotless. And you're crying. Because your comic book collection, your disc collection, it all went in the garbage bag. Everything is in the garbage bag. Everything is gone. Your room is spotless. Okay. Do we really want them to come and fix this world? It'll be beautiful when they get finished fixing it. We're going to be crying. Okay. So they're giving us the ability to fix the world ourselves. Okay. And we have the ability. Okay. This is what George H. Walker Bush said, is that we was going to quit building weapons of war after the USSR went away, and we was going to unite with all the countries in the world, and we was going to stop world hunger and this and that and everything else, and we was going to make the world a beautiful place and make sure that everyone had food and water to drink and whatever. Yeah, that was 25 years ago. And how did that work out? It didn't work out too well. Okay. And now you hear, I was listening to the BBC the other day where, you got countries, cities in like Switzerland. You even have a city in India now that wants to give everyone wideband access. They want everyone to have access to a computer. They want everyone to be able to do, to be able to do certain things. We live in the richest country in the world. We're not trying to get everybody wideband, service over here. If you can't afford, $100 a month for, all this, whatever, hey, that's okay. You see what I'm saying? So we are having problems. So these alien groups are here. They're watching us. They are here. But they're trying to help from behind the scenes. But I said there's 5 projects. We also have the last project that they're working on, which is the Crossing Project, which is the Scary Project. This Crossing Project, because they know that the world as we know it is coming to an end. Because as I told you, every 12,500 years, our sun explodes. Okay. And we have polar shift, which is the worldwide earthquake, which all the continents will move around and the earth will rebalance into its new position. Okay. And this is what the American Indians call the 5th world. We're coming to the end of the 4th world. Okay. And as the Bible says, after that, you will have a new heavens and a new earth. The reason everything will be new, because everything will be different, because everything is going to move around. And when the sun explodes, it's going to be a different color. To let you know, the sky won't be blue anymore. It's going to be a slight purplish color. Because our sun is becoming more and more ultraviolet. Our sun is going to be, in our lifetime, our sun has switched from a yellow a white star to a white star. After polar shift, our sun is going to be a white bluish star. Is that good or bad? Well, if you like ultraviolet light, it's going to be very good. Okay, if you don't like ultraviolet light, well, that's going to be extremely bad. Because ultraviolet light, okay. And scientists already know that some animals on this planet have already started evolving already. There was a big article about how roaches and certain other bugs are already starting to evolve. Okay. And their shells are getting harder and certain things are happening because they're preparing for the ultraviolet light. Okay. You know, I don't know what we're going to do, but they're going to work on all of this. So, after this, as I told you before, during polar shift, they abandoned us last time there was polar shift, and we got destroyed, which was called, if you believe in science, the end of the ice age. If you believe in religion, it was called the Great Worldwide Flood. That was the destruction of the last world. The last world was destroyed by water. This world is going to be destroyed by fire. Okay. And they're going to not abandon us this time. That's what the rapture is about, all this stuff. Some people are going to be taken up in whirlwind. We're going to be taken up in some of their ships. Some of it's going to be put underground. Some of it's going to be put in safe zones on the surface. They're going to try to save 5 billion of the 7 billion people on this planet. But there's a price. Nothing's for free. Everybody wants free. Nothing's free. If they save our butts, they can do it. They're willing to do it. But the bill comes. They want to go back to the good old days. The good old days is they ruled on earth and we served them. Okay. That sounds like slavery to me. But anyway, we're not going there. Okay. Some books talk about how wonderful, how great it's going to be, how we will be serving them and everything, and they will be the ruling class, and we would, okay. If you want to live that, I would rather be one with them instead of serving them. But that's the price if they save our ass. Okay. Or we can save ourselves. We have the technology. Okay. And they're willing to help us. So you got all of these different groups, all these people, they got all this technology. All this technology. And they're willing to help us. Or we can say, no, we're not going to do nothing. We want you to do everything. We're just going to sit here and cry like we're 2-year-old babies. And we want mommy to come and save our butts. Okay. And if they already know, it already written what the world is going to look like after polar shift. The world is going, that's what these people from the future be talking about. That the world is going to look like something out of a science fiction movie. You're going to have buildings 200-300 stories tall and all this flying cars and crafts and everything. It's going to be beautiful. Yes. For them. Okay. It might be beautiful for you too. But remember, they're going to be the rulers in this new science fiction world we're going to live in. They will be the ruling class. Okay. So, that is the world we are looking towards. Or we can save our own butts and we can make our own world. Okay. We have a choice. But we are not alone. Most books say that, and I'm not going to argue. Those pictures I showed you, you can say those are fake pictures, they're this, they're that. I just showed you a lot of what they say is real aliens from around. A lot of people say that there's as many as 50 different alien groups operating on this planet. Okay. But what that have to do with me and you? What that has to do with Christmas coming and Thanksgiving in 2 weeks? It doesn't have to do anything. Because they're doing their thing. And this is what, I keep saying it over and over again, this is what that book says that you got in your house that you never read. Is that up until up until Noah went in the ark, People was getting married and being given in marriage until the rain started. Okay. And when everything here, and you can look on TV, there's people rioting all over the world. There's food shortages. We don't even, in America, we got all these people from Central and South America trying to come to America because things over there are falling apart. You got people all over the world, in Africa and in Afghanistan and all these places. People all over the world are starting to migrate because things are falling apart. And that's one thing we're going to be talking about next week, is the consequences of that we don't call it global warming anymore. We call it climate change. And we're going to be explaining that next week. But why this is going on. And this is going to get a lot worse over the next few years. Okay. And if we want to see what we're heading towards, I keep saying time is cyclical. It goes in a circle. Time is not linear. In the East, they know time goes in a circle. So if you want to see the future, you look towards the past. If you want the past is the future. It goes in a circle. And we can look into the past and we can see what happened before when the climate changed and how it destroyed everything. Most people do not know. Rome fell, not because... Most people do not know why Rome collapsed in 400. Rome collapsed because the climate changed. And the people of Germany and Scandinavia, you could no longer grow wheat above the Rhine, and they were starving to death. And millions of people from Northern Europe crossed into Southern Europe. And it collapsed the economy in Southern Europe. Okay. You see what I'm saying? That could happen tomorrow. What would happen if people started moving around in giant numbers today? We don't have the food. We don't have nothing. We can barely feed the people in our own areas. What happened if people start moving? What happens if, like in the movie that with The Day After Tomorrow, what happens if Yellowstone was to explode? In the movie, millions of Americans moved to Mexico. Because if Yellowstone was to explode, which we're going to have a talk about in several weeks, the last time Yellowstone exploded, it destroyed half of the United States, 70,000 years ago. Half of the United States was uninhabitable. In the movie, millions of people moved to Mexico. Mexico can't even feed the Mexicans. How is millions of Americans going to move to Mexico? Okay. You get what I'm saying? So we don't have that problem. And right now we're trying to keep the Mexicans out by building a wall. What happens if we want to move south? Okay. This is the problem. Now, we don't have the technology. We don't have a lot of things. Okay. And things are getting really bad. So, again, what all of this have to do with aliens and photographic things of aliens? Now, we've been talking since 1947, and you can go on TV right now on the History Channel, and they're still talking about Roswell, and did Roswell really happen, and this person was a witness. They've been talking that stuff for 40 years. The year will be 2218, and they'll still be talking Roswell. Aren't we tired of Roswell? We know now, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that they're here. We know that. Even the military, even the government, the British government have already admitted it. The French government have already admitted it. The American government is like, well, Okay. But a lot of governments all over the world have already admitted a lot of things. A lot of governments have already released all their UFO files. Okay. We still want to talk about Roswell of 1947. Aren't we tired of talking Roswell? Aren't we tired of talking about what happened? There was this ball of light in the sky in 1962. Aren't we tired of that? Okay. The Air Force was just talking about strange things that was going on, 2 years, 5 years ago. You had that giant shaft, you had that giant spaceship that was over an airport in China. That was 5 years ago. Okay, this stuff is going on. If the problem which I told you, the secret weapon that's all over the world now is we all have cell phones. Everyone in the world. You can go to the primitive place. Even wherever, they got cell phones. And all cell phones have a camera on them. And people are taking pictures of all kind of weird stuff. And we want to say, well, I don't know if that's true. Well, if it was real, if I don't see one, then I don't think it's real. If it's real, if I was to see one, maybe I would believe. That's the same thing as saying, well, I don't believe in serial killers. If I ever meet a serial killer, maybe I'll believe in one. If you ever met a serial killer, you probably wouldn't be alive. Okay. And you might have already met one, because a serial killer is only a serial killer when he's killing. And he's not killing 24/7, 365. Okay. Normally, he's just a school teacher. Or he's working at McDonald's. You get what I'm saying? So you might have met him. He might be your neighbor. Okay. You just don't want to piss him off. So there's a lot going on which we don't know about. But if you look around and go on YouTube or Facebook or go everywhere, people are taking pictures of all kind of stuff. And now that they got millions of security cameras all over the world, these security cameras are picking up strange animals, strange creatures, strange this. And then they bring this guy from the college and say, well, it appears that, but I have a PhD and I can tell you that's not a real this. They just want you to sleep at night. Okay. We have to eventually open our eyes and believe what we are saying. Okay. We are not alone. And before they were saying, we're not picking up any signals. Now SETI will tell you, they pick up signals all the time. They don't know how to read them, but they're picking up all kind of weird stuff. Okay. Our problem now, just like with crop circles, just like with all this stuff, is we now have the technology to see what is going on. We're seeing these flashes of light coming off the moon. We're seeing all this stuff. We see these strange craft. We're seeing these giant things coming out of the ocean. We got submarines and we see these giant things, 3 miles below our submarine passes at several hundred miles an hour. All kind of stuff is going on. And we're just laughing and giggling and, oops, Thanksgiving's in 2 weeks. We need to think about that turkey. Okay, we can just stay ignorant forever. But we're the ones who's going to suffer in this game. We need to quit playing this game, and we need to prepare ourselves before it's too late. Okay. Our future is up to us. We control our destiny. And if we want to be one with them, that's what I'm fighting for. I'm not too excited about this thing about them being the ruling class and we're being and we're serving them. I would rather us go for oneness and we can share this planet. There's enough room for all of us here. Okay. Because some of this stuff they're talking about in these movies, I think they're preparing us for stuff. Like I told you before, there was 2 creations on this earth. We only know about one creation. But there's books that talk about, as I told you, Anil was given rulership of the creation on the surface of this planet. Enki was given rulership of the creation in the freshwater underground ocean. What is that all about? Is that what they're talking about in Aquaman, where they're trying to unite the two worlds and they want the two worlds to be united as one? What is that all about? Okay. And since the beginning of time, there's always been these stories about these cities underground. You can call them Shambhala. You can call them, Durango. These stories have existed about these secret cities underground, which are so rich and famous. And now they're telling us about them. Oh, we got the Black Panther. He lives in this secret city in Africa that's underground. We're not even fazed by it. Okay. But to me, it pisses me off, because if you got a secret city under Africa and you got all this power and money and everything like that, then how come they don't help the people on top? If you got a secret city in South America, Durango, which they've been trying to find for hundreds of years, the city of gold, and you got all this money and power and everything, won't you help the people on the top? Because they don't give about us. Everybody is like Trump. They only care about me, 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 me. Okay, we need to care about our neighbors, because if we don't care about each other, okay, this is what's going on in California. You can say, I don't care about nobody. I only care about my house. I don't care about that forest fire over there. I only care about my house. But the forest fire is a forest fire. Okay. Everything is burning. And not only California is burning. The Amazon is burning. Australia is burning. Africa is burning. Everything around the world is burning. And we can say, we don't care. Those people over there can go to, okay. But when your house is burning, who are you going to call? The Ghostbusters? That's what the song says. Who are you going to call? It's not going to work. We need to fix our problem. And we need to figure this stuff out. Just like Venice this week went underwater. Okay. And certain places in the world is getting ready for, over there in Amsterdam and whatever, they built this giant wall to keep the water out. Okay. In London, they have this system in case the Thames, the main river in London flood. They can close all the floodgates and they can protect the city. What do we have in America? Nothing. What are we going to do? Throw rocks at it? If Miami start going underwater, if New York City start going underwater, we don't have any floodgates. We don't have nothing. Okay. You see what I'm saying? And we have insurance, but what most people don't know, insurance doesn't cover acts of God. So when you try to collect on your insurance, they're going to say, oh, that was an act of God. That's not covered. Okay. Terrible. Okay. So we have a lot of problems, and we have some people that are trying to help us. And we got, and so many people today are having all kind of visions and dreams about things that are happening in the future, and they're trying to warn us. Okay. They're trying to, this is, I'm not trying to get you, once this show's over, where you turn off this and go in the refrigerator and have to get a tall one because Lynn was talking too scary. I'm trying to tell you, we need to do something. We need to save ourselves. We need to save this world for our children. We need to get our butts in order. We need to get ourselves together. Okay. But nobody's doing nothing. And they keep saying, I live in Texas. Houston has went underwater at least 4 or 5 times in the last 2 or 3 years. And every time another section in Houston go underwater, they say, oh, that was a 100-year flood. And then 2 or 3 months later, oh, that was a 100-year flood. How come they're having all these 100-year floods every few months? Okay, you know what I'm saying, don't you? Okay, that's not 100 years. Okay. Are we that dumb? And some of those houses in Houston have already been flooded 3-4 times in the last 2 or 3 years. And they keep saying, well, that was a 100-year flood. But your house was flooded 2 or 3 times in the last 5 years. It's crazy. Okay. We need to try to figure this out. And if you have one of these houses that keep catching on fire or keep going underwater, maybe you should scratch your head and say, maybe I should not rebuild this house. It got flooded 2-3 times in the last 5 years. Maybe I shouldn't rebuild this house. It burnt down twice in the last 5 years. Maybe I need to move. Hello? Hello? Okay. Right? We need to save ourselves. And if you live in a place like New Orleans that are 9 to 12 feet below sea level, and in New Orleans is one of the only places in this country where they do have giant walls to keep the water out. And we saw how good that worked. You know what I'm saying, don't you? Oh, that worked really good. Okay. So we just need to get our little butts together. And if we need help, we have people that's willing to help us. Upstairs, they're willing to help us. Our little alien friends. You know, this is what happened in the 1950s. You had this valiant Thor. This alien guy came, landed in his UFO craft. He was willing. He offered President Eisenhower everything. He said he would cure all diseases, cure world hunger, solve all of our energy needs, if we would give up nuclear weapons. We said no. So, you know what I'm saying? The price was too high. This is how dumb and stupid we are. And we've been having nuclear weapons since World War II. And how many of them has been used? We just build them, point them at people, and then after 20, 30 years, we destroy them and build new ones and point them at people. But think, our alien friends are willing to do everything for us. And why they was willing to do that? Because remember, they live on this planet too. And now they're kind of worried. Those dumb primitive people may not only kill themselves, they might kill us too. Okay. And that's what the world is. That is what the zombie virus is all about. If they get too afraid of us and they say those people are just too crazy, maybe we just need to get rid of them. We need to talk about that. I know things you don't know about. They just need to hit that red button and we'll go away real quick. Okay. We really don't want to go there. Okay. But we are not alone on this planet. This planet is inhabited, as I told you, this planet is supposed to be 1/3 man, 1/3 nature, 1/3 animals. That's on the surface of our world. The inside of our world is inhabited by all these, Asgard being. You have the giants down there, which we're going to be talking a little bit about next week. You have these, gods with the little G's down there, the Anunnaki. You got all kind of weird people. You have the gods helpers down there, which is the real. Or I'll give you a little hint. These Pleiades people that's from the Pleiades, they're not from the Pleiades. They're from downstairs. They're the helpers of the gods. Okay. I know. I'll spill all the beans. Okay. We have a lot of people. And some people know about this. Because you do have one place on this planet, which I'm going to intro, I'll tell you this, where we can actually talk to those people that live inside. There's only one place in the world you can go where everybody can talk. Rainbow City. Right? It's rainbow, not because it's gay. It's rainbow because it is what you see in Star Wars, the bar. All the alien groups are there. The humans are there. Everything is there. It's only one place where people mix. Rainbow City. And it's in a special place where no one knows how to get there. The South Pole. Okay. So, oops, I just told you that. You wasn't supposed to know. Okay. But that's the reason that you got all these countries over there that we spend millions of dollars to have our bases on the South Pole. Now you know. Okay. That's the only place where we can actually, because they won't allow us to go inside of the earth. So if we want to talk to them, that's the only place we can go. Plus we can hang around the bar. You know what I'm saying? Don't you and see the freak show? Okay. But it's fine. Okay. But that's down there. Okay. But they are willing to talk. We can talk to them. And we need to figure out, hey, why don't we try to figure out something that, y'all control the inside, we control the outside, why don't we try to work together and try to figure things out? Okay. They are willing to will and deal. Okay. Because we have a disadvantage, which I talked about last week. They know where all of our cities are located. They know where all of our weapons are located. They know where everything is. We know nothing about them. So if we want to fight a war with them, how can we? We don't know nothing. Okay. And plus, there's so much going on. There's so much going on. So this is what we need to do. But the earth, back to our thing. There are so many alien groups operating on this planet. And one last thing, since we're talking to alien groups. The alien groups even have the earth split into territories so they don't fight. That's the reason, in America, you see a lot of gray aliens. If you go to Europe or to Australia, you see a certain type of other aliens. They do that so they don't end up fighting and bickering it with each other. They have the earth split up into territories. Okay, so that's the reason when you go to a certain place in the world, they only see one type of alien group, basically. But America, we only see a lot of grays, tall grays and little grays. We don't see that many reptilians. They stay a lot in Europe. We don't see a lot of these giant ones. They stay a lot in Australia. We don't see, insectoids. I'm glad we don't see them. I might have a heart attack. I hate little bugs. I would hate to see a big bug. But in South America, they have some insectoids in certain places where you get to talk to, aliens that look like a giant praying mantis. I would have a heart attack if I saw a 5-6 foot tall praying mantis. I wouldn't know what to do. Okay. I can't handle that. Okay. You get what I'm saying? So let's just stay with the small and tall grays that we have here. But as I told you, the earth is split by different type. And there's even people, certain places in the world where, some of these things live in water, as I said. We don't see them that much here. But in certain places in the world, they see these amphibian alien groups. You have some of those in in Asia, where they hang around water and come out of the water and all kind of stuff like that. So it's just party time. It's just party. But we don't know nothing. And we just want to keep talking about Roswell and this and that and talk about, I seen this light. Okay, they want to keep us dumb. But we need to move forward. But we are not alone. If you go online, they used to say there's no evidence of alien life. They don't say that anymore. Now SETI will say there are signs of alien life. They have picked up signals. We believe that there's life beyond the earth. They have found planets that have oxygen. They have found planets that have water on them. They have found this. They have picked up alien transmissions. We don't know how to read any of this stuff yet. We're not that smart, but we're picking it up. So this is what we need to do. We just need to join the party. Or we can stay the dumb kids, the primitive people on the outside running around killing each other. And, the choice is up to us. But we're running out of time. So that is what this discussion was about. The choice is ours to make. I choose to move forward, and I choose to be one with them. That is what I want. I do not want to. They're going to get mad. I don't want to them to be the rulers and I serve them. Okay. Been there, done that. Okay. You know, I want to be one with them. Maybe if you want to serve them, happy. Hey, that's great. That's excellent. But, you know, I want to be one with them. I'm into oneness. Okay.